Hey guys, this is StugeGG, aka Big Cedric, aka Jeff. This is going to be a gameplay demo of the ranked practice mode of Town of Salem. I've got a previous video up that is the classic mode that kind of also walks through the very basics of the game and how it works. There's going to be a link to that video in the description if you want to check that out before checking this one out. Actually, when I originally recorded this, my audio did not work properly, so you're going to basically be hearing me commentating over the game. I would have re-recorded, but this actually turned out being a pretty cool game, and I pull off something at the end that I just wanted people to see. And it kind of shows the things I investigated and figured out as the game goes. So you'll see I'm just hopping into a basic ranked practice here. Entering the game works the same as a classic. You get your 15 players. The big difference here is if you look in the upper right, instead of there being complete set roles, you now have very specific just to the jailer, Godfather, and Mafioso. Everything else can kind of be a number of things. Town investigator, there's always two of. That can be investigator, lookout, sheriff, or spy. Town support, there's always two of. That can be escort, mayor, medium, retributionist, or transporter. Town killing, there's going to be one of. Town protective, there's going to be one of. Killing is your veteran, vigilante, or vampire hunter. Protective is your bodyguard or doctor. And there's also random town, which can be any of those roles, or the any, which can be absolutely any role. So you've got the potential for 9 town, 8 guaranteed. There's also going to be your Godfather and Mafioso guaranteed, and then 1 random Mafia, which could be Framer, Disguiser, Janitor, Forger, Blackmailer, Consigliere, or Consort. And then you've got your neutral alignments. There's 1 neutral benign, which can be Amnesiac Survivor, neutral evil, which is Executioner, Jester, or Witch, and neutral killing, which is Arsonist, Serial Killer, or Werewolf. And each of those could also be one of the any's. So see, first thing I do here is if you look in game, I'm Stooge, and I actually got the vigilante role, which means I can take justice into my own hands and shoot people at night if I so choose. I can't do it the first night, so there's basically nothing for me to put in besides kind of make up some fun facts or something like that. Usually if I'm a vigilante, since I have time to do pretty much anything, I will type in something comical. Here I couldn't really think of anything, and I keep making typos as I'm trying to type while talking and explaining a few things. So forgive how slowly I type in a few of these instances. Basically, I'm just kind of killing time here. You'll see I have the ability to write a killing note in the top up here as well. I don't bother putting a note in there until I know I'm going to attack, just so I can put in a customized message. Generally, you want to wait to shoot until you know for a fact someone's evil, might be a jester, might be a mafioso, something like that. If you just random shoot, since there's either 8 or 9 town members, I shouldn't follow myself there. So there's the 6 unknown, what they are, the 7th unknown who could be anything, and the jailers. So there's those 8 and possibly a 9th from the any. You pick anyone from the town, which is 7 or 8 people, which is half or more. Your chances are you could randomly hit a town. So there's a lot of vigilantes that do that, and if they hit a town member, they just quit and move on to the next game. Because if you do kill a town member, you kill yourself the next night. So essentially you're costing your team 2 votes for the important trials and stuff like that. See, the chat gets a little bit crazy here. People are just throwing random stuff. We did have somebody quit night 1, who was the Godfather. Unfortunately, you do run into that fairly often where people do quit. See, he committed suicide. We'll find out a little bit later that the jailer actually jailed him. So he may have quit when he realized he was jailed and he figured he was going to be outed. He didn't want to make up a will or something like that. So he ends up quitting the game, which leaves either 2 or 3 Mafia. I said, unfortunately, that's one of the types of trolling and cheating that goes on in games like this. Leaving a game's not technically cheating. Maybe he did disconnect. Maybe he just didn't want to play Mafia. But the other instances you do see fairly often are people in voice chat working together, even if they're on separate teams, or, you know, people throwing the game just because they don't like a role. I mean, I've seen a serial killer who never once killed anybody. No reason why he didn't. He was just trolling, and it kind of ruined the game for the Mafia because they really thrive off of, you know, the neutral killings, getting extra town members gone before they could. So night 2, I obviously wasn't able to identify anybody from the chats going on. No idea who specifically might be a mafia or a neutral evil or neutral benign or neutral killing. So I just made an additional note that I don't know anything. Still not going to shoot, just going to hang out. We have 2 deaths here tonight, Themeless and Woohoo. So this is what lets us know that there's a mafia, and it's going to identify what the neutral killing role is for us as well. Unfortunately, the mafia ended up killing the survivor, who's one of the few neutral, I guess most of the neutral roles can side with the mafia, but it's one of the few roles in the game that can actually win while working with the mafia. Because the survivor wins as long as at the end of the game, no matter who wins, they're also still alive. So, yeah, the bad news is, unfortunately, they killed one of their possible only allies. I mean, it's always, if the game isn't going well for the mafia, which it did when the Godfather killed himself, the survivor's usually going to side with the town. And Themeless also died from the werewolf. And he was the doctor. So we know that the doctor was the town protective role. So if there is another town protective, they would have to be the random town or the any. So you'll see if someone later in the game, which does happen, someone does claim another town protective role. The struggle is to figure out if they could actually be that random town or any, or if they are lying. There's not actually too much going on. People are just throwing stuff back and forth. People are claiming that Dachi is the jester before, but you'll see here really quick, John Proctor claims he's Lookout and says Dachi is the one who actually visited Woohoo. So the Lookout would see, okay, Woohoo was visited by these people. The only person he said he saw him visit is Dachi, so he's going to vote him up. And then Dachi's being a goofball and saying he actually killed Theme instead. So he's not really defending himself, so he's going to hang. So basically what happens here is John Proctor claims Lookout managed to correctly see who targeted, one of those people and reported to the town so they could hang. Early on, sometimes people will assume that's an executioner play, the executioner whose job it is to hang one of the town members. Because if no one technically backs him up, it could just be John Proctor saying, or his role is to make sure Dachi gets hung by the town. But you'll see here, he really didn't defend himself at all. So Dachi ends up getting hung. And Dachi goes ahead, dies, but in his defense says the other mafia is D's nuts, which is going to throw a few people off because people are going to assume he meant D or Dede. But I'm personally think he was probably just trolling, so he was going to say the other mafia is, and people are expecting him to say an actual name, and then he just says the D's nuts joke. So night 3, I still have my gun with 3 bullets left, but I clearly have no idea who somebody is. I checked real quick to see, he said, okay, it's D's nuts. I'm going to keep saying it like an idiot. So I'm looking over there realizing that there isn't anyone with that name. Unfortunately, I could assume that it might be D. You see me thinking about it right there. Considering it, I'm going to write in my note, I'm still not going to shoot. I don't really know what's going on. No one is really confirmed town besides that guy who claimed Lookout. And the people who are dying need to die anyway, so there's no reason for me to shoot. So since the past night wasn't a full moon, we only have 1 mafia kill. If I haven't mentioned already, the werewolf can only attack and kill people on nights that are full moons, which is basically even number nights. Night 2, 4, 6, 8, and so on. If he attacks folks, anyone who's at the house he visits dies. If he stays at home, anyone who visits him dies. So it's possible for the werewolf to actually kill a huge number of people. So So we take a quick look at the jailer's will. We see he saw Narak Night 1, who ended up quitting. As soon as he got jailed, he quit. He jailed Listen, and Listen claimed Lookout. Now the interesting piece of information we have is both John Proctor, and you see me actually scrolling up to look at it. John Proctor claims Lookout. See, it's up there somewhere in there. And then also we've got Listen Up Guys claims Lookout. So potentially those are our 2 town investigative roles. So at no point there's not really a reason to not believe them. But it's something just to keep in mind what people have claimed as it starts to fill in these roles. So here we see DD claims they were in jail and that they claimed bodyguard, and the jailer asked for proof, so he posts his will of who he guarded. So people immediately assume he's lying because we know the doctor's dead and town protective was doctor. So if DD is the bodyguard, they're either random town or any. So what someone claimed is that because DD was jailed, they killed the jailer. If you're the last mafia, you don't kill the jailer by being jailed. A werewolf or a serial killer that gets jailed would kill the jailer. So here I'm actually going to help defend them. So if DD is last moth, they couldn't have killed the jailer. Vote Inno. So I'm voting Inno. I'm urging everyone else to vote Inno because it's entirely possible they might be a bodyguard. And if they are bodyguard, we really want to keep them alive. If they're lying or not remains to be seen, but we'll figure it out here shortly. So they promised, so certainly they're not lying. I mean, I wouldn't foreshadow anything like that, the fact that they could be lying. So in that, we saw John Proctor was actually the only person who voted guilty. So the town immediately votes him up, assuming he's suspicious. He previously claimed a Lookout. He's actually the one who identified Dachi as someone who targeted one of the guys who got killed. Technically, we could have realized the werewolf killed Woohoo, and he claimed Dachi visited Woohoo, but Dachi was the godfather. But we don't quite pick up on that then. So you see, with all the stuff going on, we kind of let that little nugget slip past us, which is another bit of foreshadowing for what's to come. So he's claiming, he caught Dachi. Didi's definitely guilty, which he wouldn't necessarily know. So I'm still pointing out, if Didi's mafia, there has to be 4 mafia. Because Didi was jailed and the mafia still killed the jailer. So here, because Didi with only 1 E after each D voted guilty, we immediately vote them up and they start claiming sheriff. Which, since we've identified officially 0 town investigative yet, it's still possible, but we did have 2 Lookout claims, so this would make this person the random town or the any. If that was true and they take up random town or any, and that DD was actually bodyguard, that would confirm both those roles for us. But this person gives a pretty terrible defense. I'm sheriff, but I don't care at this point. They're trying to help their kid play Pokemon. So Yeti's hero was saying what I showed. It can't be sure if there are 2 Lookouts. Technically, it could be. So I point out they could be the any if the BG is random town. But I abstain. Everyone else votes guilty. And we'll quickly see here that that person actually was not lying and they were a sheriff. So this throws into play. Clearly, we have somebody who's potentially lying among these Lookouts, or potentially random town is a town investigative. But as we head into the night cycle here, we really can't confirm anything. We saw that Didi and Dachi both came up as not suspicious for the sheriff. We know Dachi was the godfather. If you're a sheriff and you look at the godfather, they actually come up as non-suspicious as well. So a lot of people hate sheriff because it's, unless you hit the lower mafia or the serial killer, you don't really identify much. So I'm thinking, do I want to shoot Didi here? They might not be the bodyguard. It's definitely not possible, but I'm still going to refrain from shooting. So I'm just writing in my note that Didi is suspicious in case I die, so people read my will to see as I spell suspicious terribly and have to retype it. So I know they're suspicious, but I don't know for sure, so I'm not going to shoot. Luckily, the remaining mafia and the werewolf don't seem to want to kill me, because I haven't really done too much. I was a little bit concerned since I was coming to the defense of a ton of people, but if Dee Dee was evil, and perhaps they would, want to keep me alive since I was a staunch defender of them. So here we see our medium just died. They don't leave a great will because basically there's nobody to talk to. The Godfathers wouldn't give them information. The survivor wouldn't really help. The doctor, jailer, and sheriff were all dead, but they probably didn't give great information at night, or they probably left. So like Woohoo probably wasn't actually dead night too, so it didn't matter. But like Woohoo or Easy Money might have just left the game. Which, if you die as a townie, it's not great to leave. There's a chance that there's a retributionist, which can bring one town member back from the dead. So you'll see mayors who get mad when they die night one. So they immediately quit the game. And then the retributionist is just sitting there saying, wow, I could have brought the mayor back. We could have had a really powerful town game. So here we actually saw both mediums died in one night, which is kind of funny. Because mediums can't see each other talk to the dead at night. But if dead are paying attention, they can point out, hey, it looks like there's two you talking, you're both mediums. They can identify themselves in death chat. So Smudge would have said, hey, I'm medium, I'm Smudge. John Hathorne should have said, hey, I'm medium, I'm John Hathorne. Then the dead could say, hey, there's two of you, you're Smudge and John Hathorne. So they would know to work together the rest of the game. So here, Listen Up Guys, who has claimed Lookout, is trying to say, we need to get the BG claim because it doesn't make sense with the doctor being dead. Which, like we have identified before, is entirely possible. The two mediums dying eliminated the two town support, which still doesn't confirm anything else for us. People are voting against Dee Dee. You'll see at a point I'm asking, why do we trust Listen's second Lookout claim? We know there's one town investigative dead with the sheriff. John Proctor identified a killer, so we trust his Lookout claim. So Listen Up Guys would have to be the random town or the any, so I don't quite trust that yet. So Dee Dee's defense here is that they can, write their abilities from their note up here. It's a stupid thing to do. If you have the Wikipedia open, you can easily copy and paste. It's why most people will put their will. So you'll see, I give an example, you can just highlight and copy the entire thing and paste it into chat if you want. It cuts off after a certain number of characters, but then you can just copy and paste what you missed. So I chose to actually abstain there to let the town do what they wanted. They did vote guilty, so Dee Dee's going to hang. We're going to find out if they were the bodyguard, and it was smart that I protected them, or if I'm a goofball who's just too trusting. The suspense is killing me. I don't know what's going to happen. And Dee Dee was the werewolf. So I got played by the werewolf claiming bodyguard. Luckily, it didn't really do any harm. We would have hung them one turn earlier, probably, and it would have saved one person's life. But what are we going to do? So here, I'm planning on killing Listen Up Guys, because I don't believe that other Lookout claim, and Smudge has claimed Veteran. So my shot here is to kill Listen Up Guys, which will put up my death note, which says the fact who I am, so people will know exactly who I am, and that Mudge, who is claiming Veteran, might be lying. Because I'm the town killing. If Mudge is Veteran, he's the random town or any, which we still haven't confirmed for anything. Usually as town dies, say we had a third support die, we just kind of start eliminating random town or any and be able to figure things out. So I go to shoot Listen Up Guys, but you see I actually get roll blocked, so I'm not able to shoot. So instead John Proctor dies, who I think is our confirmed Lookout as he outed one of the Godfathers. A quick note again, if I die coming up, I tried to attack Listen Up Guys, but was killed. And it turns out that John Proctor was a jester. And he made a claim to try to get just a random person hung, and when they weren't what he claimed, he was hoping we would then hang him. Unfortunately, he hung a mafia, so we believed everything he said, and eventually the mafia killed him, so he ends up losing. It was actually great play by John Proctor. The only thing I could say is when he got voted up at one point, he staunchly, defended the fact that he was Lookout and he did this and that. He probably could have played that a little bit better and not alleviated all the suspicion on him. But here, I'm going to start claiming Vigilante because we're getting to that point. So Mudge has claimed Vet, so I'm kind of pointing out, he might be lying. But Mudge says, well, we haven't seen a Vig kill. and I point out that I was going to shoot listen last night to prove it, but I was role blocked. I go and paste my will so they know that I'm not lying, but easily this could be a fake will and they could be lying. So there's going to be suspicion on me. And Listen Up is very upset that I wanted to shoot him. And he's going to get kind of mad. So L actually believes me here. So Listen Up, obviously raging. I hot, the werewolf died. Doesn't make a ton of sense. L is now claiming doctor. Listen Up is saying bad words that are getting filtered. So I let him know, his lookout claim was initially suspicious. Now it's not. So I point out Mudge is vet, which is still possible because he could be, the random town or the any, which we still haven't actually identified. So Listen Up is saying, to kill me, which would have been a mistake on his part. Or actually, he switched to Mudge, and he actually wanted to kill Mudge, but he wanted to kill the Vigil the vet claim, which makes sense, as it's unlikely there's both. But he also told, they told the veteran not to bother or to alert tonight so he doesn't kill anyone, and someone wanted to check him. I'm going to go ahead and shoot L because of that doctor claim. I don't believe. And we're at the point where I'm kind of worried that I'm as I type terribly there and just give up on writing suspicious. And this shakes out in a very, very interesting way. Everyone's dead but me and Mudge. So I successfully killed L, but Yeti and Listen Up guys have also died. So if Mudge is the mafia, who would be the mafioso, I could kill them tonight if the person I killed wasn't a townie. But considering that neutral benign, neutral killing, and neutral evil all are dead, there's a good chance that a lot of us were townies. So here's what ends up happening. The escort Yeti visited Mudge, who did alert, and he was the veteran. So Yeti got themselves killed. L was shot by me. And it turns out here, as if you could have heard my audio when I was recording, I get very excited because I figured out I did correctly identify the mafioso. Escort ended up being the random town support. Mudge, the veteran, ended up being the any. So that dot claim was incorrect. So luckily, me killing the mafioso there wins the game. If I hadn't shot L and Listen Up guys still would have been dead, the suspicion probably would have been a Mudge would say, you're not the vigilante, you haven't shot anybody. And L would say, yeah, that doesn't make sense, let's vote him up. L would kill me, or they would vote to kill me. Mudge would realize his mistake. And then most likely, if he had alerts left, he might survive the mafioso attacking him. Otherwise, the mafioso would attack him and win. So very luckily, Listen Up guys' claim was correct. So just to run things over, the jailer, we had easy money. The two-town investigative were the sheriff and the lookout. The two-town supports were the medium. Town protective was the doctor. Town killing was, we'll say it was Mudge. Random town would be the escort. I would be the any. So luckily, I decided to shoot that doctor claim out of suspicion, which may have won us a game. There's a chance me and Mudge both figured it out, and we vote for L instead off that doctor claim. But thank goodness it shook out the way it did. I was very excited. I'm kind of glad the audio didn't record because I may have gotten a little bit too excited for a win in a video game. But hopefully this kind of explained things a little bit better about how you kind of get in the meat and potatoes of the game with the ranked practice mode, which is where I would estimate most people play. The actual ranked mode, it's pretty much the same as ranked practice, but I don't see a lot of people playing it, mainly for the reason that people kind of assume that community is a little bit toxic. Ranked practice, people get upset, but they're a little bit more easygoing. And ranked, if you mess something up, people are just cussing and swearing at you all the time. I like leaving the filter on because it makes it sound funny. If somebody tries to tell me I'm trash, it actually translates to amazing player. So instead of saying you are trash, it says you are an amazing player. And then they get mad when you thank them for saying you're an amazing player. So see, L was the consigliere turned mafioso. So we got kind of lucky when we shot him. If you do have any questions about, Town of Salem, just drop a comment below. I'll try to answer them as best as I can. Obviously, I'm 10 games under 500, so I'm not an expert by any means. I have run into a lot of trolls, a lot of people leaving, a lot of mafia voting up the other mafia and giving them away. But overall, it's still a pretty fun game. If you enjoy watching me play, and want to see me play some more games where I actually am just kind of playing and enjoying it rather than trying to do a lot of explanations at once, just let me know in the comments or just shoot me a message anywhere and I'll figure it out. Also, leave a like if you enjoyed it. If you want to see more videos, subscribe. I'll start putting out probably maybe some other games, other things like that. Unless you really want to see this, and I'll put out some videos for that. As well as you can check out the Aureus Gaming community. I'll throw a link in the description as well. We're actually going to be doing some events where a bunch of people from that community get together to play this game. And since it takes 15 people to fill a lobby, definitely wouldn't mind having some more extra folks along. You can always shoot me a friend invite in game at StugeGG. I'll accept it. I'm not going to be picky. If you troll me in a game, I'll block you, but I wouldn't worry too much about that. That's pretty much it for this. Like I said, questions, put them in the comments below. Feedback, put in the comments below. Like, share, subscribe, all that hootenanny. If you didn't like it, you can leave a dislike if you want. Leave a comment saying why you hate me, and I'll try to work on myself as a person. Thanks again, and everybody have a great day.